Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, starring award-winning real estate coaches and #1 international best-selling authors, Tim and Julie Harris. This is the #1 daily radio show for realtors looking for a no BS, authentic, real-time coaching experience. What's really working in today's market, how to generate more leads, make more money, and have more time for what you love in your life. And now your hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
Welcome back. This is day 3 of how to bank $100,000 in the next 100 days. Listen to what I just said. This is day 3. Please make sure you go back and listen to the first 2 days. We had a lot of folks asking for our notes for today's podcast and yesterday's and all of our podcasts. And yes, we'd love to give you all of our notes. And no, we won't charge you anything for them, but you do have to subscribe to our daily newsletter called harrisrealestatedaily.com. It takes 2 seconds and it's free. So, no harm done if you don't want to do it. But if you want the notes, and in addition to a lot of other free content, you just go to harrisrealestatedaily.com and hit the subscribe button. It takes 2 seconds. You just have to put in your name and your email address. The link is down below, or just go directly. So, Julie, today is day 3.
Yes, it is day 3 and 5 more proven lead generators for you. Number 6, remember, 1 through 5 was yesterday, continuing with number 6. For rent by owners, sometimes called FRBOs, for rent by owners. These are investors who own single family or small multifamily units. They're an amazing source of new listings for you. This is one of the easiest scripts to learn and polish because it is a simple business conversation. If the home is vacant and for rent, might the owner rather sell it versus continue it to keep it as a rental? They might.
Let's level off there.
Yes.
So you're going to have a lot of opportunities under the guise of for rent by owners. You're going to have, let me make sure I'm not talking any Julie's points. Nope. You're going to have a lot of failed VRBO owners. There were a ton of people that bought a ton of real estate during COVID that they bought with these, speculation in mind. You guys all remember those arbitrage VRBO people? They'd go and rent something, and then they were selling info products and how you could basically go out and rent a bunch of houses and then make them into short-term rentals. Whatever happened to all those guys, I wonder? Well, guess what? The properties they ended up with, they actually need to sell them now. So make sure, and you can go to VRBO, HomeAway, whatever, maybe even local property managers, and they will pretty much, let me be specific. If you go to VRBO, we know how to, and it's very simple to do, to actually get into VRBO and see what the rental history of that property is. And you're going to find in most cases that the rental history will not make sense for the, based on how much cash flow the seller's making. They shouldn't be keeping that property, and they're going to want to get rid of it. The numbers didn't pan out. Their big arbitrage plans didn't pan out, so now they're going to want to sell it.
Well, there was a lot of FOMO purchases back in 2020, 21, and 22, even a little bit into 23. I am hearing about this from coaching clients who are saying that these types of sellers say, I bought it too quick. I was being rash. There wasn't any inventory. I wanted to take advantage of low rates. I didn't know how long COVID was going to last. And now I'm not using it. I don't like it anymore. It didn't rent for me. There's lots of different reasons for them to want to sell it now.
Well, the fact is they're losing money. So even if they have a super low interest rate, even if the house has appreciated, which both of those things are going to be true, they're still, if they're not keeping the place cash flowing and rent it out, they're losing money every month. So they're essentially, maybe the house has appreciated. They maybe have 50% equity in the thing. Go them.
Well, that's how they're going to realize their goal is they're going to take it out of the equity, not out of the monthly rent that they're not getting.
Right. Well, what Julie's saying is basically the negative cash flow on the property is eroding their win. Their win is the equity from the appreciation. Yes. So they need to take their chips off the table. We give you guys a lot of scripts and ideas on how to basically talk with for rent by owners, but short-term rental markets, and a lot of you are in those markets. Don't forget to call those folks. And the best thing about calling for rent by owners or even short-term, VRBO types is a lot of times you're going to be, again, sprinkling great news on them because you're going to be telling them how much their property's worth, and they probably don't even know. There are a lot of you who have rental properties that the owners are disengaged. Maybe they've been managed by, Julie and I have lots of rental properties. We keep track of what our values are. But, if you didn't keep track of it like Julie and I did, and you've had a property manager for decades, they're probably not telling you what the market value is. They don't care. They're just wanting to collect a portion of the monthly rent. So you're going to be calling these owners, and you're oftentimes going to be like, you guys remember the old Ed McMahon thing where he walks up to your door with a massive check?
Yep.
I mean, you're going to be giving them nothing but good news. So that's something you need to be taking very seriously, even if it's just individual homeowners.
So for those for rent by owners, offer to do a free comparative market analysis so they can make an educated decision and see what that does to their plans. Again, potentially one contact and multiple transactions for some of these. Maybe they want to reinvest in different properties with you. Maybe they want to cash out their entire portfolio while prices are high. You won't know if you don't ask. And you'll also love this source because guess what? The phone numbers are easy to get. You can't complain about that. All right. Number 7, small and medium-sized builders who are building homes on spec. Tim talked about this a little bit yesterday. This means that they are, quote, speculating that the house will sell. Now, there's intended spec houses and unintended spec houses, but it means the same thing. They're speculating that it will sell. There are many iterations of that we talk about in Premier Coaching, but what's working for our clients lately is to identify buildable lots and take them to the small builder. You sell the lot, you list the spec home, often bringing the buyer as well, and some of those smaller builders will lather, rinse, repeat with you on that.
These are the types of builders that deal with the buyers themselves. They don't have a sales team. Someone that only does maybe 4 or 6 homes per year.
Yeah,
if
they don't
lucky.
have a model home or anything like that.
They don't have a model home. You're going to have to go get a BIA list. You're going to have to call them directly. It's always better to have, when calling them, a prospective or several prospective build clients for them, because then they're obviously going to want to talk with you. And then you can ask them what they're doing with their spec homes, because builders only know how to build. No matter what the interest rates are, no matter what's going on in the economy, builders only know how to build. And a lot of them will do 1 or 2, even the small guys will do 1, 2, or 3, or 4 spec homes per year. They have to, because that's how they pay their bills, even if they're not making huge margins on them in some cases. But in this market, frankly, they are. Many of them are making 20 to 30%, but they don't list the properties. They, generally speaking, will just sell it to a buyer when the house is completed, those types of things. Learn how to have these conversations. We teach you in Premier Coaching.
Yes, and a cousin to that would be number 8, flippers. Sure, they might sell the home on their own, refer to the previous for sale by owner point, but flippers often will list with you so that you can bring a buyer to them before they're actually finished with the flip. This helps them because they can flip more homes in less time. It's a bird in hand, so to speak. Meanwhile, you have it listed, and while you have it listed and they're finishing it, the house generates more and more buyer and seller business for you. It's a win-win for everybody.
All right, let's build on this one. So there's a lot of caveats to this idea. So flippers, wholesalers, and a lot of, so on a flipper, a lot of flippers right now, when you buy a house to flip, a lot of them don't use their own money. They don't use money from a bank. They use a hard money loan. And hard money loans are generally no payment for maybe 90 days, 120 days. And after that, the interest rate on the loan is a lot. Julie and I have done some small hard money loans before, and that's generally speaking how you structure the loans. And so a lot of these flippers, what they did is a lot of them are stuck with these houses that they haven't been able to sell or they can't afford to sell now because they're having to pay the interest on those payments because it took too long to finish the house. Now, a lot of those are carryover, believe it or not, from COVID. There's still quite a few of these properties that are sitting that the hard money lender had to actually take back from the flipper that also could be potential sales for you. Or you could combine idea 7 with idea 8 and you could take a half-done flip to one of these small builders and then they'll finish it and you can make the money from them. Now, next idea, and this is primarily what you're going to find on Facebook. There are a lot of wholesalers. And what is a wholesaler? It's somebody who basically will go and run ads, usually offering to, buy your house for cash. And generally speaking, their offer is going to be maybe maybe 60 cents on the dollar. So if the house is worth $1 million, they're going to offer $600,000. Most sellers, unless they're really, really motivated, aren't going to even consider an offer like this. So what these wholesalers do is they get a ton of people saying no, but they also will generate a lot of leads. Now, a couple thoughts for you. Hopefully you're keeping up. Find out what they're doing to generate the leads and do the same damn thing. Okay, and then you can generate listing leads. Find out what they're doing in your marketplace to generate the wholesale leads that they're getting. Because again, we know, that probably only 2 out of 20 maybe of those sellers that are calling about selling your house instantly for cash are going to be willing to take a huge reduction, especially in a market like this. Well, those are still leads that those wholesalers are getting. Learn what they're doing. And I have had a lot of coaching clients over the years who have, run the bandit signs and done things like that. And depending on your market, that can work really, really well. You're going to have to look for a market where, frankly, there's a lot of people that a ton of equity or paid off homes. Now, go to the wholesalers and ask them what they're doing with the inventory or with the home lead, the listing leads they get, or really in their case is the seller leads that they get, that the sellers are saying no. They're doing nothing with them. They're throwing them out. So you can then, if they have a real estate license, obviously agree to pay them a referral fee, or at least have a business relationship with them, where you'll send them your, potential wholesale leads that you come across. Those of you guys in Premier Coaching, if you're using the guaranteed home sale, which all of you should be doing. It's part of your listing pack, part of the listing presentation. And some of you are afraid to do the guaranteed home sale. I just gave you your way to make it so that you never actually have to buy the house. If you don't want to, have 5 or 6 of these wholesalers that will be more than willing to go in there and swoop up and buy that house from that prospective owner. Some of you don't know what I'm talking about because you're not in Premier Coaching. You know what to do. Join Premier Coaching.
Very well said. All right, on to number 9, and that is probate. Not many agents prospect probate leads because they don't understand it. Probate is simply the process of selling a home after someone passes away. The court appoints an executor of the estate who can then sell the property. If keeping the home in the family is not an option and the executor or executors wish to cash it out, well, that's a listing. Sometimes they'll reinvest the proceeds in real estate. Sometimes it's just the listing that you're going to sell for them. Either way, they need somebody caring and competent to get the job done. That is a whole system that is also included in Premier Coaching. I like probate because hardly anybody calls.
I was about to say analytical people love probate.
Well, it's true. It's a business decision.
What part's true? That you love probate or you're very analytical?
What are you alluding to?
But seriously though, probate's a not emotional sale because you're dealing directly with an attorney. You're not having to deal with a homeowner. And once you have the relationship with the probate attorneys and who was the Bill Bird, right?
Yes.
So Bill Bird used to get a ton of business. And he lived in Central California, and his average sale price was high, and he got a lot of it just directly from, I think it was like 2 or 3 probate attorneys.
Yes, that's right.
And you guys can do the exact same thing. We teach you how to do that in Premier Coaching. All right, point number 10.
Sorry, sniffling. All right, number 10, last but not least for today, your professional center of influence. When was the last time your favorite lender sent you leads? When have you asked? Who do they know who is getting pre-qualified right now to buy and has a home to sell? Stagers are also great to know because smart sellers call a stager first. Refer business to stagers, ask for leads in exchange. You know, I don't know if you remember this or not. We used to get leads from the sprinkler guy. Remember in New Albany Country Club?
I do.
Yeah, because he was the guy, if you live in a climate that actually has seasons change, you have to turn the sprinklers on in the spring and turn them off in the fall so they don't freeze. There's a company called the Sprinkler Guy. He knew what was going on in the neighborhood because he was literally crawling all over everybody's lawns and sprinkler systems every spring and fall. And we would send him business when we had like somebody buying a house, buying a listing. So he would be somebody in our professional center of influence. I have had coaching clients who have gotten lots of great leads from stagers. All of you are talking to your lenders all the time anyway, or at least you should be. Every time you call to check on one of your buyer clients, you should also be asking that lender, whom do you know who I should be working with?
All right, I'm going to give you guys a bonus point, 10A and 10B. Okay, 10A is going to be relocation companies. Now, how does a relo company, or am I stepping on a point for tomorrow?
Maybe not. Nope, you're
All right,
safe.
relocation company. So a relo company, some of you know what I'm talking about because you get a lot of business from it. Now, I'll tell you what I don't like about relo companies is they charge you a really stupid referral fee. What I do like about relo companies is, generally speaking, you don't have to compete for the business. And and if you do it right, you're going to get a lot of listings that way. But it's very expensive business. In some cases, just keeping it all on the table so you guys know what the math is. A lot of times if there's like a $10,000 commission, after all the fees and whatnot, you're going to make like $3,000. So think about if you want the business or not. But relocation can be a big cash cow. Where is it going to really work? In the upper end. That's where it's really going to work. So for example, if Julie and I sold in the New Albany Country Club area towards the end of our real estate selling career before we went full-time into coaching. And New Albany Country Club was full of executives that worked at the then limited stores, right? So Bath and Body Works, Victoria's Secret, I mean, you name all those brands that were part of that huge monolith company. They all basically were coerced to live in New Albany Country Club. And so I would get a lead directly from the relocation person inside the human resources division of the limited. It was a gal, and she'd say, Tim, we got so-and-so coming to town, and they want to go on a tour. They want you to, they want to go on a tour, and so here's how it would work. So you'd meet with them on a Saturday. They hadn't actually committed to taking the job yet. They were just wanting to check out the community. So you'd basically do exactly what I said. You tour guide them. You'd maybe buy them lunch. You show them the schools. You show them, make them comfortable. You have to have a good personality, and you have to, be somebody that really knows the neighborhood. And then if those people decided to A, work with you, and B, move to, in our case, New Albany Country Club or New Albany, that relo company would, or the HR person would then have that person work directly with you. And that's the way it would work. So you do have to give up some, time for the day tour. But after that, you're going to get a steady stream of business. And if the HR person likes you, if the person is choosing to, I want to, Tim's a great agent. I'd love to work with him. And B, they actually decide to take the job, because sometimes this is true, but I've had relo people back when Julie and I sold real estate, these HR people who said they fired their previous agent because their agent was talking crap about the company that they were planning on working for. And so they didn't end up taking the job. And so I just thought that was just preposterous. But, I'm glad that they did, because otherwise I wouldn't have gotten the relationship. But relo can be a huge, consistent source of business. And again, you might trip over listing leads when you're just out and about, and then they're going to already be attached to a relo company. So if you we find this too. We get a call from somebody and they say, I want to put my house for sale. I'm moving from, Columbus, Ohio to Cincinnati or whatever, to Kentucky or to whoever, it doesn't matter where. But I'm working with XYZ company, and you have to work with the relo company. And you'd say yes. And even if that was a centers of influence and past client lead, somebody it doesn't matter. You're still going to have to pay the relo fee. So like I said, relo is a source of business. It's not my favorite source of business because it's expensive and lots of strings attached. If you're with eXp Realty, there is a great relo division that they did start probably 2 or 3 years ago that I have heard nothing but great things about from the agents who are qualified to receive relo leads. And I'm going to give you a little advanced coaching. Those of you with eXp, they are in search of agents that have relo experience and relo listing experience in the upper end. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to get the certification for working with luxury upper end homes, and then let the relo department know, and you'll start getting referrals that way. Julie and I broke our way into New Albany Country Club because in our second year in business, after we sold 100 homes, the relo division at Remax, is who we were with at the time, sent us a listing lead, not even a listing lead. They sent us a lead for $1.3 million.
Yeah, it was a great day.
On Ely Court.
Ely Court.
Yeah, that was a cool house.
Yep, I remember.
Yep. And anyway, so that's how we got our foot into the door at this upper end price range. So again, go relo. Now, the second one is a little bit, maybe a little bit second degree, but it'll still work. BPO companies. Now, BPOs are broker price opinions, and they're ordered for all kinds of different reasons. Now, here's the reason I want some of you guys to consider doing BPOs. BPOs in some markets will pay you up to $100 for doing what it amounts to a fancy CMA. That's really what a BPO is. I would say the average has probably been out $85. And during the housing crisis, it fell down to like $25 or $35 for a BPO because so many agents were willing to do them. But now I'll say in most markets, it's going to be right around $100 on up.
Yes.
If it's more complicated, it can be several $100. That means you're going to get an order. It's going to come in your email. It's going to say, we need a BPO completed with the next however long it is, 48 hours, 24 hours, 72 hours. And here's the address. Now, BPOs are ordered for a whole bunch of different reasons. They're ordered for refinances. They're ordered for tax appraisals. They're ordered for
pre-foreclosure
and insurance reasons, all kinds of things.
That's right.
And so you can start finding out why the person is putting the house or why the BPO is being ordered, because you might then discover that the person's, as Julie just said, in pre-foreclosure. Or maybe the BPO has been ordered because the relo company is wanting a BPO on the property before it goes for sale to check what the home's value is. All these other things. But these are most likely, I would say probably 60% are going to be listing leads that are showing up as BPO leads. Now, the BPO companies will ask you not to talk with the sellers. And you got to respect the BPO companies, but just remember what I said, 60% of those folks that you're doing the BPOs for, depending on your market, are also going to be prospective sellers.
Right. Well, you don't talk to the seller at the time you're doing the BPO because the BPO is your job from whoever sent it to you. But after all of that work is done and completed professionally, then it can potentially be a lead for you.
The classic way to do it, because you're going to have to take pictures and whatnot at the outside, is just to knock on the door, let them know that you've been ordered by XYZ company to do the BPO. You will find out from talking to the person that's assigning you the BPO, it's usually a BPO company or a bank directly. You'll find out why the BPO is being ordered. It might be a vacant property, or it might be somebody that is in duress, financial duress. Either way, learn the skills to help those folks out, because these are just, you're just looking into the future of a future prospective listing.
That's right. Now, with the exception of the potential referral and with regards to relocation, everything we've talked about so far is free.
Well, I want to really drill down on this.
Yeah.
So some of you are wanting to know how to make $100,000 in 100 days or more, right? Some of you need to figure out how to pay your bills today. I just told you, do 3, 4, 5 BPOs a day. And as you get more efficient at it, you can make $300 to $500 a day. That's probably a hell of a lot more money than some of you are making now, unfortunately. If you're a new agent, and it's part of our plan for new agents, is do BPOs, because it's going to put you in a position to earn money now, but also get to know the market like nobody else's business.
Well, that's an excellent point that you're drilling down on, and I hope they're paying attention, because I know some of them listening were like, oh, gosh, $100, why would I do that for $100? Don't think of them as a one-off. Do batches of them at a time. Make $400 or $500 a day. Then do that, 2 or 3 weeks of the month, and you are now in real estate. Excuse me. Now, I, as a coach and, as an agent, I really love BPOs for a different reason, and that is that it makes you better at your job. You're far better at pricing. It gets you out in the wilds of real estate. You're going to bang your head on other leads just because you're out there doing BPOs. It gets you a lot more experience quickly, while at the same time putting cash flow in your pocket.
Well, along those lines, Julie and I coined a phrase back in the housing crisis. Those of you who had teams, you'll remember this. You guys have been with us, some of you, for 20 years. We said no riders, only rowers. In other words, your boat is your business is a boat, and all the people in the boat are the people that work with you or work for you. And if any of them are just sitting there they don't have an oar in their hand, they're riders, and you cannot afford a rider, everyone has to row. Well, what are you talking about, Tim? The guy, your administrative assistant that closes your transactions, they have to be doing BPOs. Every single person in your business has a daily expense. Figure out what it is. You're paying Bob $3,000 a month or $10,000 a month, whatever it is. Divide that by the number of work days. Figure out how much old Bob costs you per day, and then make it so Bob has to start earning that amount of money per day off of the BPOs that he's doing. Now, will every one of your employees want to do it? No. They're all going to complain, and some of them are going to say, well, I don't have time. Then replace them and find people that are actually willing to be rowers. You don't need any riders in any housing market. Frankly, you don't need any riders in any business. Everybody has to be generating revenue. Nobody can be essentially there under the guise of servicing revenue. I know there are a lot of coaches and trainers and books that have been written about all this, where you have, different people having different jobs. You have the people that generate the revenue and people support the income generation. Nope. Everyone makes money. That would be a rule that you guys should consider taking forward into your lives as you scale up your real estate businesses.
Absolutely. Now, tomorrow we are going to give you 2 more lead generators, and we're going to do a summary. We're going to give you action steps. You'll know exactly what to do. Remember, with all of these different lead generation points, don't just pick and choose your maybe favorite 1 or 2. You need to be doing about 80% of this to make this work, to make at least $100,000 in the next 100 days. Some of you can do that in the next 30 days. Others of you already have a bigger average sale price, and you'll be making $250,000 in the next 100 days, assuming that you take action.
Don't buy business. Don't buy leads. Don't do anything speculative. Don't wait around for some marketing branding plan to work. You don't have the time. You got to make at least $100,000 the next 100 days. We're giving you the prescription on how to do it. Take action. In the meantime, guys, thank you for keeping this number 1 daily listened to podcast for real estate agents in at least the United States. It's our pleasure and our honor to provide you this information. Our job every day on this podcast is to educate you, motivate you. Now, please get into action with this information. Have a fantastic day. We'll talk with you on the show tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.